Well, it's Monday. It is the 20th day in the month of December 2020. Just 4 days before 2021. We're still counting down, and of course, festivity still ongoing. We just celebrated Christmas a few days ago, and of course, we're looking forward to 2021. Of course, it is Flow 94.9 FM. This is the flow of God's own state. Welcome to the platform. It is the pinnacle of all discussions where we take a critical look at issues as it affect our dear nation, Nigeria, and also as it affect our dear state, Abia State. And of course, the program runs every Monday, every Wednesday, and also every Friday on Flow 94.9 FM. We're presently live on Facebook, on our Facebook page, Flow FM TV. If you want to watch what is happening, you can head on to our Facebook page now. Welcome. Today, my name is Michael Oni. Now, today we're looking at a very important issue, local government elections in Nigeria. Remember, we had the local government election in Abia State on the 18th of December this month, 2020. Of course, local governments are viable instruments of grassroots political participation and socialization, while election are means of ensuring proper and regular changes of government. The controversies over the conduct of local government elections across Nigeria seems unending, and the fact that in some states the exercise has witnessed low and zero participation from opposition parties leaves much to be discussed. While the importance of the local government as the third tier of government is depending democracies at the grassroots cannot be overemphasized. There is also need to have a credible leadership at that level. One of the reasons we're centering our conversation today on local government elections in Nigeria right here on the platform. I do have my guest in the studio with me, the national chairman of Inter-Party Advisory Council, IPAC. He doubles as the national chairman of the African Action Congress, that's AAC, Dr. Leonard Nzenwa. Doctor, good morning to you. Welcome to the studios of Flow 94.9 FM again.
Yeah, Michael, thank you very much for having me on your program this morning. Let me start by saying that it's also a good time to reconnect with you after some time.
Yes.
Of course, the last time I came here, it was a very good session we had, and today also we're going to have a good session.
I believe so, Doctor. Welcome once again. Let's talk about the aftermath of the local government election in Abia State before we move straight to Nigeria. Of course, it's been more like a business as usual, where opposition parties, they boycott such elections. Some even termed it coronation and not election. I don't know what will be your immediate reaction to the one just conducted in Abia State this month.
Okay, let me say that it's very unfortunate we have continued to witness a charade. We've continued to witness a very reprehensible arrangement where we have incumbent and dominant political forces taking control of the states continually at the expense of undemocratizing the democracy of this country. It's unfortunate because democracy starts at the lowest from the smaller space, which is the local government. But the leaders do not understand this. Leaders have gone on an ostrich mission and have continued to also subvert the will of the people at all levels. What took place in Abia State in the just concluded local government elections is not election. I describe it as a very absurd, reprehensible, undemocratic, and coronative in nature. I think what really happened was a disaster. It wasn't something that we need to talk about. Thank you very much.
So you do not accept that it was properly conducted, despite the activities that took place during the election day?
You see, what is done basically is to give a facade that something is taking place. That was not an election. It was an arrangement that was carefully and systematically orchestrated to give the impression that something took place. Is a nightmare, and we should not continue in this manner. The people should express themselves at the local level, and that's what we're trying to do. And we're taking this seriously, both at the party level as well as the national level. Of course, you know that Inter-Party Advisory Council, being the body that takes all care of the political parties in this country, and which I'm privileged to be the national chairman, is on top of this. We will not continue over in this country to witness a situation where in each state, the incumbent will sweep everywhere. You find where a situation where if it's a PDP controlled state, you find that the whole local government will be swept by the same party, year in, year out. If it's APC, you find the same political party in the same state doing that. How are we deepening democracy? How are we growing this?
Is it the fault of the parties in power in those states you've mentioned, or the fault of the opposition parties?
It's not the fault of opposition party. It is the fault of the incumbent, the powers of the government in place or the political party in place. They are responsible for what is going on.
Okay.
Let me tell you why they do that, because if you look at the States Independent Electoral Commission, there's nothing independent about Electoral Commission. You have to delete the word independence. You just have state electoral commissions, and these people are appointed by the state, funded by the state, administered by the state, driven by the state. As a matter of fact, they are stooges that have been appointed by the government. What do you expect? And so what you find out is at the end of the day, you have a process where they select everybody and begin to do whatever they want to do. And this has got to stop. If we think we are creating a good harmony, we are trying to balance democracy in this country, this should not take place. It is very reprehensible, and we condemn it. IPAC condemns this at the national level, and my own political party, we will take actions on this, and this is what we're doing.
You call it undemocratic, and you're faulting the process of appointment of those in charge of those independent state independent electoral commission. The problem now is, how do you want it to be done? We have the same thing happening at the national level. The Independent National Electoral Commission's chairman has been appointed by the president, although is subject to ratification by the National Assembly. Just like we have at the state level, the State Independent Electoral Commission, the chairman appointed by the state government, subject to ratification by the state assemblies involved here, and they face screening, and they are well screened by the assembly before they are being finally signed that, oh, you're in charge of the election, conducting local government elections, both the chairmanship and the councillorship. So where is the problem coming from, Doctor?
Okay. Let me be very, very clear to every one of us.
Okay.
We might have witnessed some level of anomaly when it comes to the situation at the national level when INEC conducts election. Largely, it's driven. The challenge there is logistic issues. That is what we have for. I've been in very deep contact with the national with the INEC as the leader of IPAC in Nigeria. We've weighed in on all the problems that the political parties are having, also INEC itself. Yeah, you talk about the process of selection and appointment. It's almost a similar thing. But when you look at the national level, the variables, the contending interests are quite different from what you have in the state here. Now, what we are saying is this thing has got to be extremely neutral. You have to play an independent role. At the federal level, where the INEC chairman is appointed by the president and also ratified by the National Assembly. I was in the last screening when Jakubu was, returned back as the INEC chairman.
Okay.
I saw the questions, I saw the way he was drilled. I saw the question they asked him and all that. Now, you have to understand that we take, for example, because when we began to put pressure on that. And
you're satisfied with the screening?
Of course, I was there live. I was there and with the honorable senators of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Okay.
I saw the questions for over 2 hours. He was being drilled, and he drilled each question. He provided answers to the best of his knowledge and based on the experiences he had in a couple of 5 years that he's been there. Now, what is the difference between what happened at national level at this place? Now, you have an acrimonious contending forces within the local spaces that say that ascending into political office is only essentially around how a meal ticket, and you do not see any level of development. You do not see any of them. All they do basically is to cash out from time to time. You go to one particular place and get money and all that, they now have a Methuselah recycle level of political forces who are coming together regularly to hold the state into ransom. And so we are saying, listen, we do not want the state electoral commissions to continue to conduct elections at the local government. What we want is this. We want a liberalized setting where if INEC at the federal level has been able to do it, take for instance, with the pressure we have mounted on INEC as a body, you look at what happened in the Edo election. Edo election was acclaimed as one of the best elections we've had. It's because of the input we made in the last couple of months. You look at what happened in Ondo, it was also seen as a very democratic election, even though we have some logistic issues. But when you bring that compared to what happens across the states, there's no basis of comparison. And that's what we're saying. How would you grow a political party in a state where you have the complete incumbent continually frustrating every effort of the opposition to move forward? Are you telling me that those who don't have different separate views?
So are you saying the way forward is for INEC to conduct election even at the local government level?
That is our proposition, and that's what we're doing. As I speak with you, just last week we had a serious session with both members of the National Assembly as well as key stakeholders, and the conclusion is that as long as the state independent electoral commissions continue to conduct elections in the various states, there will never be any level of deepening of democracy in this country. Democracy is dead. It's been proven over and over again. So the idea that they have failed continually does not give them room to come and conduct elections. And so our position is this: the independent national election should take over the conduct of election across the states, and you will see it will change.
Doctor, in every process there is there are merits and there are demerits. You will agree with me. If the local government should conduct election, or if the INEC should conduct election at the local government level, don't you think that it will be business as usual? Looking at the powers that control things at the center now, when we have elections conducted, state elections, maybe we're going for state election, for example, the one that happened in Edo State and the one that happened in Ondo State, you followed the power play. You followed how both PDP and APC, the major political parties, were struggling to be the one in control with all the power play. Don't you think that might replicate at the local government level if INEC should be in charge?
You see, one of the things we tend to forget so much is that conducting election is not only an affair of INEC. We tend to have this culture of blame game. Now, the elections conducted is an activity of several stakeholders. You, as a media person responsible here, you are a voter first. You're also a media person as a stakeholder. It requires processes. You have security personnel, you have the media, you have the political parties, you have the civil society, you have the electorate who are the people, and you have the political parties themselves. And so when you put this, you now see there's an aggregation of different contending stakeholders at place. Now, talking about replicating this at the states, now you need to understand there are latitudes, even at the federal level, where we have seen very clearly that at the national level, the way elections are conducted are better and slightly well arranged than what we have in the states. Let me tell you one of the reasons why it is better.
Okay.
Now, the last one has a serious logistic issues here in the states. I had my team that monitored the election here, and I had the report they gave us. In most cases, the electoral officials, the election officials, never got to their polling unit as late as 12 o'clock. In some cases, even at the governor's place, we were monitoring the election there. I think Omar saw where exactly it is. The electoral officers never got there as about 10:45 or 11 o'clock. Now, what we are saying is this: let us have a free playing field where every political party will have a space to campaign. The political parties do not campaign because they are frustrated. The election umpire bring out very absorbent, very expensive prices for contestants to pay. That's also a means to also frustrate them not to get into the race. And so when you put all these things together, it will not happen when it comes at the federal level.
Which brings the question, the funding of local government election in Nigeria. You complained about the state funding the election at the state level,
yes,
funding local government election,
yes,
the conduct of local government election. At the federal level, the federal government funds the conduct of the state elections and also the national election,
yes,
the National Assembly, and of course the presidential election in the country. How do you want the states, how do you want the federal government to fund local government elections that have been initially funded by state government? Perhaps the federal government yields to the agitation of IPAC that local government elections should be conducted by INEC.
Okay. Of course, you cannot get every budget requirement to conduct elections. It's a very massive project. It's a multi billion naira project and all that. But what has happened so far is that we've taken a clue for what the INEC has been doing in FCT. As we speak, INEC conducts the local government election in the Federal Capital Territory.
Correct.
And we have seen Very, very commendable results. Sterling performance of INEC in that regard. There are two things we need to do to get it right. First, at the top level, we've got to now synchronize the timing of elections at local government, either immediately after the key elections, the presidential, the gubernatorial, and all that is, or we structure it or stagger the local government elections in the same manner that some states who were not having their during the national calendar also does that. If we have that, we have an opening. It becomes a very convenient time for INEC to do that. Why it will be so is this. Now, the funding itself, it will take significant fraction of the budget to come to undertake that. But there's nothing that will take democracy, no matter whatever it will cost of the democracy, we put that in place. What we are trying to do basically is, based on the experience, we're not saying based on the experience, from one state to the other, you find out that each time local government elections is conducted, you find that the incumbent continually sweeps everywhere. Now, are you telling me that there are no other better candidates who contest these elections? Are there not who are not contesting and all that? So what we're saying is this: once we synchronize the national calendar around this, I think it's very easy for us. Any amount that is budgeted for election, as long as it helps in deepening democracy, will also help in helping the country.
But Dr. Nzenwa, we've had issues where opposition parties boycott the local government elections even before the conduct of the election. We've had issues where opposition parties do not believe in the system. For example, in Abia State, some opposition parties said, well, we do not believe in the appointment of Professor Umpa Agu Umpa as the chairman of the Abia State Independent Electoral Commission. In fact, some parties went to court to challenge the conduct of that election, and at the end of the day, the ruling party came out and said these are antics for the opposition parties not to participate in the election, delay tactics. These are antics by the opposition parties not to be a part of the election. And at the end of the day, they said the opposition parties didn't campaign for the election.
Okay.
Now, issues of boycotting the election, when you have grievances, when those opposition parties have grievances, what do you expect them to do?
Of course, you know, political parties have their ideological inclinations and all that. And IPAC as a body also have its rules and regulations.
Okay.
Any party that decides to boycott election may have had its reason to do that. And of course, in a situation where you have, from the outset, you know that this is a charade. I mean, it does not impress reason. Neither does it in any way satisfy conscience that you must go ahead and go on with that kind of election. The best thing is basically to get yourself out of the whole race, because at that stage you have seen that everything has been pre-programmed. It has been pre-arranged. But is there any, let me ask you one question.
Okay, getting yourself out of the system, do you think it will solve the problem? At the end of the day, the same opposition parties will complain about the disbursement of funds to the local government, funds not judiciously used, siphoning of monies meant for local governments, and these are some of the issues. I believe local government elections should be conducted. So how does boycotting solve the problem?
Boycotting will not solve all the problems.
Okay.
But when a political party at its own level manages to decide that this is what they do, there's nothing you can do about that. They may have come up with some reasons or some rationale what informed that. Boycotting will not solve the problem. Discussions and negotiations will help in that arrangement. But the experience we had so far is that this set of incumbent power forces do not listen to people. They want it because it is what we call prebendal politicking. It is transactional politics. It is an arrangement to settle people over time. And so what we're saying is we will not continue that. So emphatically to your question, boycott will not solve the problem. We'll have to devise another creative means, which we're also doing now, on how to tackle and engage the states on the need to discontinue this attitude of perpetually and consistently subverting the will of the people from expressing themselves in local government elections. And I tell you, this is why the Nigerian state is in serious problem. If you look at this crisis we're having across the federation, you find the root largely, apart from poverty driven, apart from other forces or factors, you find out it is the subversion of the will of the people are in these localities that also lead to these situations. Of course, we know how Boko Haram came about. We know how the former governor in that particular state and all that, what led to that. So what I'm saying is that it is a very serious election that we should not play with. If it is happening in the northeast and northwest now, who tell me it might not happen in the southeast or southwest? This is the incremental reasons. These are the reasons that also percolate and create problems for people. And when people take to the streets, you begin to question why they do that. So the point I'm making is boycott is not the solution, but it behoves on our leaders, even at this local space, to conduct themselves humanely and democratically, so that we'll have a sanity around our polity and we'll have deepening democracy in our environment.
Well, it is still the platform, the pinnacle of all discussions, Monday edition right here on Flow 94.9 FM, and we're looking at local government elections in Nigeria, the conduct of these elections by the different states independent Electoral Commission, and we've been speaking with the national chairman of the Inter-Party Advisory Council, Dr. Leonard Nzenwa. He also doubles as the national chairman of the African Action Congress, AAC. Just before I go for a break now, just a quick one, Doctor. What do you think about the usage of transition committee chairmen?
It's basically, I said earlier on, it is absurd, it is reprehensible, it's undemocratic, and it's very, very connotative. We need to understand that what even took place in Abia State is much more like a sole administratorship thing. It's not an election. And so we condemn this transitional stuff. We cannot continue this way, appointing people over time. The same set of people. I have a cliche. I see them as Methuselah recycled political forces that continue to perpetually keep and subvert the will of the people.
But maybe you break down your English, call it Methuselah recycled.
Yes, Methuselah recycled. Of course, you know the biblical. When I say there's a connection between Methuselah, longevity. Yes. These are set of people that have been around over the years, and they have continually, consistently, and wickedly continued to subvert the will of the people. And this has got to stop.
But the state government, in the affected state governments now that we're making examples from, they will come out and to tell you reasons. We have issues with funding of local government elections, when we have dwindling revenue even from the center. Local government elections should not be the priority at this time. I don't know what will be your
let me tell you something. I have traveled extensively across the globe. This is one particular country where I have seen that leaders are not creative. We have, just as Ekwudemadu, the Honorable Senator Ekwudemadu said, we have feed the bottle federalism. All we sit back is to wait at the end of the month. The governors and the operational officers and whoever they are, they will just move to Abuja, stay in one hotel room and begin to share money after the federal allocation has been given. That's what we do here. We are not creative. Abia State is one of the most richest places we have in this country. This state is sitting on a keg of wealth. You need to be creative. It's not only Abia State. Every state sit back and wait for all your money. What are you waiting for all your money? All countries that do not have oil, they're not surviving. States that do not have oil. Look at a state like Kogi State. You give me to become the governor of Kogi State, it become a state that will feed nations. Look at Zamfara State. This state is sitting on wealth. We are not being creative. All we're interested basically is to go to Abuja and collect money. And because of that, you killed it. Look at Aba here. Aba is a gold mine. Look at everywhere.
Okay, just a moment, Doctor.
It's just crazy when I look at this.
We need to go for a break now. When we return, I will take you on the role of IPAC as the body in charge of parties in Nigeria, and of course the role of opposition parties. And of course I will take you, since you're so much interested in governance, especially in Abia State, I will take you on governance in Abia State just after the break. It is the platform, the pinnacle of all discussions, right here on Flow 94.9 FM.
94.9 FM. We've got conducive and well-secured environment for business. High-tech video studio, a state-of-the-art production studio. You can also listen live on www.flow949fm.com and watch our videos on YouTube at Flow FM TV. Flow 94.9 FM, not just radio, but a complete broadcasting house.
Well, it is still the platform, the pinnacle of all discussions, right here on Flow 94.9 FM. Very interesting conversation we've been having today on the edition of the platform. We're looking at the conduct of local government elections in Nigeria, and we've been speaking with Dr. Leonard Nzenwa, the national chairman of the Inter-Party Advisory Council and the national chairman of the African Action Congress. And we've been talking about some of the controversies over the conduct of the local government elections across Nigeria, which seems so unending. Now let's look at the role of IPAC in all these issues that we've raised today. Doctor, What is the role of IPAC? What have you been able to do to change the system? And of course, let's look at what are the roles of the opposition parties in these states.
Okay, thank you very much. I'd like to restate, but maybe I need to give a little bit down of IPAC. IPAC means Inter-Party Advisory Council of Nigeria, IPAC.
Okay.
It is the umbrella body of all political parties in Nigeria. And that means every political party that is in this country. When we are 92, we were a very big house. But when INEC, they registered 74 political parties, on February 6th this year, we now became 18. We are reduced. So legally, what you have is 18 political parties.
Registered political parties
yes.
under INEC. Although the issue is still in court anyway.
Yes, of course. You've not. The thing is, the issue is still in court. If the political parties have issues, they approach the Supreme Court, which is trying to give interpretation to that.
Okay.
Until that happens, legally, what we have now is 18 political parties. What we're saying is basically is until the Supreme Court gives its verdict on this matter, the status remains that it's only 18 political parties that is recognized. And that's why you find in all the elections that have been conducted, whether it is by-election, whether it is state government governorship election, it's only the political parties that you find in the ballot. Okay. And that sticks. Now specifically regarding IPAC, what IPAC does is basically is to IPAC is essentially to promote dialogue and adjudicate between and among political parties, to promote mutual interests of all political parties in Nigeria, to contribute to peaceful, free, fair, credible, transparent elections, to promote adherence to the provisions of the Code of Conduct.
Okay.
Now, to also obey and follow the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and to work with all other stakeholders. And I was giving you a breakdown who these stakeholders are.
Okay.
And so when you hear elections, what comes into the mind of people is INEC alone. Election is a process made by several individuals and several entities. And I mentioned the political party is a core stakeholder. The Independent National Electoral Commission is a stakeholder. The CSOs are stakeholders. The media which you work is a stakeholder. The electorates, Nigerians are stakeholders. So you have, on the top here, the security personnel are also stakeholders. You have 6 different entities now are responsible for ensuring the elections are conducted in this country. So the attitude to begin to go and say it is one particular stakeholder that is responsible for the conduct of election and also for announcement of a result and all that is not proper and is not right. You also know that election is a process. You have various activities embodied in an election. So what we do basically is to, at each point, provide counsel, work with all these stakeholders to ensure that everything works smoothly and greatly. And we did that when we saw when we saw that the Edo election was very chaotic and it was going to create problem. We went and intervened strongly. And what we did was the opposition and the political forces were bent on also forcing that election. We had to use our might and our force to see what we can do. And what happened at the day, we were able to also get all stakeholders to ensure that the Edo election went freely, the Ondo elections went freely. So those are some of the things we have all done in the past.
Interesting.
Yes.
So let's look at governance in Abia State. Yes. You're a stakeholder as far as electoral process is concerned in Abia State as the national chairman of a political party and the national chairman of the Inter-Party Advisory Council of Nigeria. You're a stakeholder. What do you think about governance in Abia State? What do you think about Dr. Okezie Ikpeazu-led administration in Abia State?
Okay, let me be very frank with you. You're not going to put me on spot, but I need to say some couple of things.
Okay.
In addition to being a stakeholder I just mentioned, I'm also from here.
Interesting. That makes it very interesting.
So I am very keen and interested in what is happening in Abia State, and I feel sad that this state is not doing very well. This state is not doing very well. Let me tell you something. A state that has, look at what is happening. If you go to Anambra, for instance, you see what is happening on Asia, for instance. You have markets, mass market economy. You have markets, states that are structured to be mass market, like Abia State, for instance. First of all, you need to know also, we are privileged to also be an oil producing state. In whatever the magnitude is, we have other resources in this particular state. Now, giving you a helicopter view, my assessment of what has happened in this state over time, I tell you it is ridiculous, very poor. Our leaders in this state have not been creative. Our leaders in this state have not been delivering. Our leaders in this state has failed Abia people. And this is the most intelligent people we have in Nigeria. The Abia people are dogged people. The Abia people are extremely very intelligent. The Abia people have some of the best people we have in the world.
Is this your position as a member of AAC, or your position as IPAC?
This is my position as a stakeholder in Abia State.
Okay.
Now, my position in overseeing extreme governance in this state, tell you, is very, very, very poor. It's not about OKZ. It's about a system that has been set up over time, chronicled to about 20 years. You have what they call prebendalism. You have a culture of where you have, I keep on saying it, Methuselah-induced politicking.
Okay, I think that will be part of my vocabulary.
Yes, Methuselah-induced politicking.
So
you have a situation where you have continually recycling of the same individual over time. Look at indicators of what you call development in the states. There's nothing to speak home about. You walk into a state capital, you have a presence of what you see. What do you see?
All right, I'm going to take you on AAC because we need to get feedbacks on our phone lines this morning on the platform. African Action Congress. You're the national chairman of the party. What is the status of the party today? And anytime you come here, I will ask you about your friend Omoyele Sowore, who you worked with, was a presidential candidate on the party and was expelled by the party. What is the position of the party concerning his expulsion today, and what is the status of that party today?
Okay, I'd like to tell you up front that Omoyele Sowore is no longer a member of AAC. In our effort to make the party supreme in Nigeria, that is the first step we took. In our effort to make a political party supreme, we discipline individuals. We don't believe in individuals. We believe in the culture of political party and ideology of political party. So no matter whoever you are, no matter where you're coming from, the party disciplines you for your actions that also diminished the status of the party ab initio and also trashed our goodwill from the onset. So Omoyele Sowore was disciplined and was expelled from the party. The second thing was that,
so he can never be a member of the party.
As I speak with you under my leadership, as we speak, the leadership of this party, the national working committee of this party, the central working committee of this party, and the neck of this party resolved that Omoyele Sowore is expelled from this party. But secondly, you need to also know that when you have a situation where somebody would now take on the state on account of going on a revolution. You see, the word revolution is not something you incorporate. It's not a business. And you have what you call revolution now. Have you ever seen the Tunisian crisis? Did you see somebody going to write revolution now before it took place? These things are things that happen, is a happenstance, and is a reflection of the inadequacies and concerns of the people that generates it, and it happens immediately. But when an individual sets out to incorporate that and begin to use that as business machinery, we feel it's very sad. And thirdly, of course, you are very much aware of his antecedent and all that. If we are set to do something with the party, we cannot continue in that street. And we have looked over time, we've seen that several activists in this country are just mere rhetorists. At the end of the way the games are up, you find that these guys, they go behind and do all kinds of things. So AAC is a different party. It's a party driven by strong ideology. It's a party of the people. It is not owned by an individual. I registered the political party, but I do not own the party myself. Everything that revolves around AAC, I was in charge. I did that myself. We started as Take It Back movement. If you don't know,
I followed the progress of the party to
exactly.
a point, anyways. To a point.
I am just giving you a back, so you understand very well. I was the national campaign director of Take It Back movement. I was the highest ranking member of that particular movement. And we now got into the window of forming a political party, and I drove the registration of the party. And when the party became registered, it came to me live. I was the one that.
So, what is the true status of the party now? The
status of the party now, as we speak now, is that the party is contesting all elections across the federations. We are building the party across the federation. It's not going to be. It's a party that is just 2 years old, and so you can't build a party and get it structured in a while just less than 2 years.
Okay.
So the party is on, and we're doing that on the ground. And of course, we're having massive presence across the country. So what we're doing now is basically is to deepen our engagement with the grassroots and get on to work with it. So the party is firm and running, and Nigerians are called to come and join the African National Congress.
All right.
The national chairman.
Interesting. We've been speaking with the national chairman of the African Action Congress, AAC, Dr. Leonard Nzenwa. He also doubles as the national chairman of Inter-Party Advisory Council of Nigeria, IPAC, and he spoke on the conduct of local government elections in Nigeria. The lines are very much open. We'll take a quick one now. That's a break. And when we return, I will start taking your calls for your opinions, your contributions, and of course, your questions. 0808 182 6949 or 0811 605 2949. Also drop messages on 0906 510 8289.
94.9 FM. We've got conducive and well-secured environment for business. High-tech video studio, a state-of-the-art production studio. You can also listen live on www.flow949fm.com and watch our videos on YouTube at Flow FM TV. Flow 94.9 FM, not just radio, but a complete broadcasting house.
All right, welcome to the platform. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
You're welcome. What's your name?
Ikechuku calling from Omaha.
All right, Ikechuku.
Our local government elections and the proposal that INEC should be the one to conduct it, I don't think it's a very good idea. Because one thing that every party, whether you are in power, you can as well see your view as an opposition and see your view as an incumbent. If you allow INEC at the FS body that is not independent to coordinate local government election, they may end up making Nigeria, the whole local government Nigeria, a one-party state. And if that happens, minority view, minority interest, the minority report will be suppressed. Unlike what is happening in most African countries, Uganda, and these are what those cause political crises. You get what I'm telling you?
All right.
So the only thing I would suggest is that we should make INEC elect a bureaucratic institution which we can inaugurate 1 year to election. You know what I'm telling you?
All right, Ikechuku, quickly wrap up.
Have the opposition to bring your member, ruling party bring your member, and they come together and conduct the election like what you have in the US. The civil society organization, media, be the observant.
All right, Ikechuku. Thank you for your contribution. Hello, good morning to you. Hello, you're live on radio. Good morning. Hello, good morning to you. You're live on radio. Yes, good morning.
Thank you very much, Michael, and members of the press. Good morning.
Yes, go on, please.
I love you. My name is Oliver Bravo.
All right.
Oliver Bravo is calling you from Nice Autonomous Community.
All right, you're welcome.
Local government election in the whole nation cannot be overpowered by the present incumbent government. If the nation is being ruled by APC, how can it in other states? How can Abia win in Anambra State? How can PDP win in Enugu? How can PDP win in Rivers State? Which means the independent election in the nation is independent for the state government, IFAC or whatever. Let us talk about Abia State. Abia State is undeveloped under PDP more than 19 years now. And they have been under selection and appointment of the local government. Please excuse me, sir. Now, whereby they have conducted this one and the PDP all over. It's unacceptable. Hello. Are you hearing me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear. Quickly wrap up the thought.
It's unacceptable. It's unacceptable. Let the people's choice come out and know. Our state has been under PDP for more than 19 years and they're underdeveloped. Let them allow other people from other parties to come in and they help other states to grow.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your take, Oliver Bravo. 0808 182 6949 or 0811 605 2949. Also drop messages on 0906 510 8289. Hello, good morning to you.
Hello, good morning.
Yes,
Michael.
good morning. Yes, Radio Senator.
Yeah,
Yes, of course. This is Radio Senator calling from government called Nzenwa.
You're welcome.
Yeah, the iPad chairman who is there. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you very much.
Yes, let's go into the business of the day. I think if INEC should be empowered to conduct local government election, I think it will go a long way in sanitizing the whole system. And not only that, the electoral system or the electoral process in Nigeria should be reorganized in such a way that it will be an electronic voting system that will empower the electorate to vote in candidates or vote out any candidate of their choice. If this is being done, I think that should be the way out to avoid the state electoral commission conniving with the state government, subjecting the powers of that is vested on the individual or the electorate, not to appoint or to the point of candidates of their choice. So I believe that is the best way to do. And every time I'm there, I don't know what is really happening at the national by this time, where they have already proposed of doing that. Are they started it? That's a question you answer. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Radio Senator. Hello, good morning to you. Let's get more reactions on the phone lines. Good morning, welcome.
Hello, good morning.
You're welcome.
I want to deposit anytime there's an election, local government election in Nigeria, you will have a voter apathy, mostly in Abia State. You know the reason. We tend to colorate local government governance to indigenous. When it comes for distribution of the benefit of the government in local government, they look for indigents. I know the indigents who reside in that particular local government may be a few number because man by nature might have the migration tendency. It may not be residing in village. So when an election calls for election, people who reside in the area believe it is a village, let their villagers go and vote. Secondly, bad government. When government cannot be responsible for good aspiration of the people, people will not hope in that government and people will not be able to turn out. But Lagos is a shining example of what democratic state should look like. As I speak to you now, 3 Igbo honorable members who are from Southeast are representing Lagos at the Federal House. Are you getting what I'm saying?
Yes, I'm getting you.
2 Igbos, 3 Igbos, they are honorable members representing Lagos. They are totally wrong. If there's somebody from Kaduna can contest a local government election in Omaya North or Omaya South and win, the first mayor, we need to change the narrative.
All right. All right, quickly wrap up the thoughts. Let's get more reactions.
Ethnicity, it's from these people that produce it. You know, by the time we do that, we have more people participating.
All right. You didn't tell us your name just before you go. Ikechukwu. All right. Thank you very much, Ikechukwu. Hello. Good morning to you.
Yeah. Good morning, Actually.
You're welcome.
Good morning to your guest.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, it's Alvan. I'm calling you from Bend.
All right. You're welcome, Alvan.
I'm even surprised to hear that we still have up to 18 political parties. It's still much, because most of the political parties, they only exist on paper, including the AAC you have talked about. It's not in Abia State. We don't even know whether they exist. So I want INEC to reduce more. Of course, it's not even a question of INEC. We have to change some necessary part of the constitution that will reduce this thing, at least to 5 political parties. Your guest is advocating for INEC to conduct local government elections under this present condition. INEC shouldn't, because we've seen the elections, some of the elections INEC conducted, they weren't fair, even that of Oshun, where election was declared inconclusive all of a sudden for the ruling party to come and win. Unless they want to turn this country to a one-party system, which is not healthy.
All right, quickly wrap up
whether INEC is taking over, we really need to, overhaul and restructure INEC so that it will live up to the, and we ensure the local government total autonomy.
All right, thank you very much. I know you want to respond to that. Your party presence in Abia State?
Okay, thank you very much. I think all the contributions from all the listeners are taken home. One thing I want to say, you can't build a political party of this nature in just overnight. What we've done so far, this party is 2 years, and we almost won the Rivers State election. Of course, if you follow very much, we almost won the Rivers State election. So a party that came out for the very first time for its first year and almost won the Rivers State election will tell you where we're going to. The AAC is doing much. What we're doing now is we're on grassroots campaign. We're not making so much noise about it. We have an office here in Omaha in Abia State here at Calabar by Ozakoli Road. We have a big office there. So this party is on ground. It's just a political party that is just starting up, but we're doing very well.
All right.
Secondly, secondly to your question, all the contributions, the constitutional amendment and electoral amendment is on now, and so Nigerians should make input into it. IPAC has made his input into it. Part of the input we are making is that we need to find a way to stop the kind of thing that is going across the local governments that is called elections.
All right, Doctor, our time is fast spent. Many thanks for being part of the program, and many thanks for the guys behind the visuals you're seeing on our Facebook page, Stanley and Solomon, and many thanks to the producers. A co-producer joined today. They're talking about Ginika Oloha, and of course the producer Samson Eze. My name is Michael Oni. Thank you very much, Dr. Leonard Nzenwa, for being part of the program this morning, and do enjoy the rest of your day.